computer is in a good spot that you can kind of see. Yes, you can kind of see. So another thing that, because the season, like we're moving from summer, which tends to be that like fiery hot season, into fall, which tends to like make us want to move less and drink our pumpkin spice lattes if that's your thing. It's not my thing, but just all the scents and whatever. So we're gonna do a little bit more active first half of the class, and then we're gonna like slow way down. Because I think all of us that, especially, I mean, I feel it because I'm in the school system, like we all need a chance to like rest really well before tomorrow. So that's kind of my plan. But first, another thing that I've been thinking about, and I've been reminding all of you about, is this time on our mat doesn't really mean anything unless we take it off the mat. And unless this time changes how we are out in the world. So for all of us, I want us to think about something that we need out in the world. So whether it's patience, or self-acceptance, or whatever, extra love, extra forgiveness, letting go, whatever it is that you need. And sometimes I forget that we can do what we do in our meditative seat when we're standing. So we're going to start with hands at center. You can look down for a moment at your feet. Make sure your feet are under your hip bones, not like together because that's not very stable, and not super wide. So right underneath your hip bones. Hands at heart center. And then if possible, close your eyes. So if you find yourself dizzy or like really wobbly, maybe just cast your eyes down at the ground. But close eyes if possible and if you're comfortable with that. Take a few deep breaths. Notice how your body feels here standing. Maybe slightly engage your core, so both the front and the back muscles. Try to make sure your pelvis is neutral, so your tail isn't sticking out, and you're also not like jutting out your pelvic bone forward. So you're in that neutral position, knees aren't locked. Take a couple more deep breaths, and then really focus in on whatever that word or phrase is that is something that you need out in the world. And breathe it in. And then either exhale out through your mouth or out through your nose. And then breathe in your word or phrase. And then out through the mouth. Breathe in your word or phrase. And breathe out. One more time. Intentionally breathe in that word or phrase. And then breathe out. Open your eyes. Step your feet a little bit wider and just shake it out. So I think you guys heard me talk about Lacey, and she talks about uncoordinated movement. So just like not, you can move however you want. Move your legs, move your arms, move your wrists, move your ankles. Just shake it out. Move your head and your neck. And then let's move into monkey drum. So bending in the middle and trying to make sure that you're twisting at your hips, but not so much that you're twisting your knee. And then your arms are flying totally loose. So they might like flop around, and that's the goal. And the back arm sometimes hits like the area where your kidneys are. Supposedly that's good. And then start to slow it down. Take a few breaths. Come back to center. Bring your feet back beneath your hip bones. we're gonna do just some like forward folds. We're not gonna do sun salve, don't worry, we're not going there. It's not gonna be that active. So if you ever feel dizzy or whatever, you can skip one, or you can skip it all and do something else, okay? So inhale, sweep the arms up, maybe lift your chin. Exhale, bend the knees and fold from the hips, coming down. So arms can just hang, belly can rest on thighs if it gets there. So we're just hanging here. You can take hands to opposite elbows. You can swing side to side if you want to. Just make sure that your legs are holding you. Your knees are pointing right over your toes. Take a few deep breaths. And then let the hands go if you have the elbows and slowly roll up. So when I say slowly, I really mean slowly this time. So like vertebrae by vertebrae by vertebrae, chin stays tucked until the last minute, and then the head lifts. Take a moment, breathe. And then let's inhale the arms, maybe lift the chin and look up, and then lean to the right. And the right hand can come down onto your thigh or side of the leg for a little extra support. Take a breath or two. When you're ready, inhale your word into your heart. Come back to center, exhale over to the left. Try to stretch that right arm towards the opposite side wall, feeling the stretch through the side body. When you're ready, inhale back to center. Exhale, circle sweep the arms down. Stay standing. Inhale when you're ready, circle sweep the arms up. And then this time again, hinge from the hips, bend in the knees, come forward. Ragdoll pose. Just let it all go. Try to loosen the body from the hips up completely. Head is let go. You can shake the head no, you can nod it yes. Try to get that neck to let go. And then half lift. So when you're ready, inhale, maybe hands come to the thighs, knees can stay bent, but back flattens. And then exhale, come back down into your fold. Hands can take opposite elbows if you like that. You can swing, you can be still. And then take hands to shins. So if you happen to have blocks, you can use blocks for this. But take your hands to your shins and try to straighten your right leg. And then maybe your right arm will reach up to the sky into a twist. So you're holding on to your left leg with your left hand. Support yourself. And then on your next exhale, bring that hand down, bend into both knees so they're even. Take a moment. And then when you're ready, try to straighten into the other knee. And then the other hand, your left hand, comes up to the sky. Breathing. Right hand is on your shin. Maybe right arm is on your thigh to support you in this twist. That's another option. When you're ready, exhale. Left arm comes down. Hang for a moment. And then again, slowly, 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 up to standing, rolling up to the back, keeping the knees bent until your chin lifts off. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, lean to the right. Right hand can come down to the side. Hands can also stay together. That's just a little bit more work on your core. When you're ready, inhale to center. Exhale to the left, side bend. Inhale to center. Exhale, hands come down. Inhale, sweep the arms up. This time, exhale, hands come to heart center, bend into the knees. Sit your bottom back. This is chair pose. We almost never do chair pose in gentle yoga, but we're working it today. I told you it was going to be active. So if you need a little bit of a break, you can always like go up a little bit, or you can just stand all the way up. One more breath. Make sure your knees are pointed straight over your toes. You can also take your hands to your thighs if you need to. On your next inhale, straighten up, sweep your arms up, and then exhale and wiggle it out. Uncoordinated movement, maybe kick those legs, shake those ankles, shake those wrists. And then come back to mountain. So we're gonna focus on the head and shoulders for a bit. So some people like to have hands on hips. Some people like to have hands heart center. Some people like to have hands down each side. So you can kind of just figure out what you want, and I might change, so you don't have to necessarily follow me. So start and lengthen the spine. So really get tall. Feel your rib cage lift off away from your hips, but your shoulders press down. Whether your hands are on your hips or dangling or at heart center, shoulders press down. And then exhale when you're ready and bring chin down to chest. On your next inhale, bring the right ear towards the right shoulder. Press the left shoulder down towards the ground. Keep breathing. Try on every inhale to think about your intention, to think about that thing that you need more of to walk into the week ahead. On your next exhale, let your chin come back down towards your chest. You can experiment with hand position. Inhale when you're ready, and left ear goes towards left shoulder. Rolling down. Breathing in your intention, breathing out, just trying to let it settle in. On your next exhale, let the chin come back towards the chest. Maybe let the arms dangle if they were anywhere else. And then inhale and bring the head up. So go ahead and reach your arms out wide, and then we're gonna hug ourselves. And you're gonna try to walk your hands closer and closer to each other on your back. Just notice for a moment which arm is on top, because that's gonna be important. And then start to, hang on. Keep your elbows right where they are, but try to bring your hands up towards each other. So we're moving towards eagle arms. And then maybe you can wrap the hands. Try to keep your shoulders down. So then the next goal is to lift the elbows, shoulders down. And then the next goal is to move the hands away from the face. So don't go anywhere where your body doesn't want you to go, right? So maybe bring the hands back into the face, or let the shoulders, so the elbows come up a little bit if it got too intense. Breathe here. Hopefully you feel it somewhere. Maybe in a shoulder, maybe across your back. Make sure your pelvis isn't tilting. When I do things like this, my bottom wants to stick out and my belly wants to hang forward. So engage that core and come back to your neutral pelvis. And then gently, if your hands are clasped, unclasp them, hug. Try to put the shoulders down. And then swing the arms. Release. And then when you're ready, swing the arms back to a hug with the other hand on top, other arm. Pause there for a moment. Try to get your hands closer, closer, closer to each other on your back. Take some breaths. Then we're going to take the arms up, 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 keeping the elbows right where they are. Maybe backs of the hands meet. Maybe hands can clasp. Eagle looks different for everyone. And then shoulders down, elbows up, shoulders down. Maybe hands away from the face. Breathing. Eagle arms. We won't add eagle legs today. We'll leave that for a flow class. 2 more breaths. Always listening to your body first, and my voice second. And then when you're ready, unclasp, go back to the hug, just for a moment, shoulders down, and then swing. You can also kick out the feet. Okay, one more standing thing before we go down. So tree pose. I love tree pose in like September, October, November, because trees are changing constantly, right? And we get to watch the trees, like they have no power over the change that's happening to them. So they just get to stand and watch. And then you get to watch them elegantly let go. And I think that's like a message for all of us, right? Is we also have no power over a lot of the change that's happening around us. And we have to somehow let go. And I think our life is better the easier that let go process is. And us being on our mat is part of making that process of letting go easy. So, feet right under the hip bones, hands to heart center, throw through the spine, and then eventually lean into the right leg. Take the left leg to the toes, turn the toes and knee out. Maybe you're going to kickstand today and let the heel rest on the leg. Maybe you're going to take the foot below the knee. Maybe if it's in your practice, you're going to take the foot above the knee. So wherever your tree is, try to keep your foot straight down and your heel straight up. So don't let that foot inch forward or inch back. Find your drishti, your gazing point. Hold steady, focus the mind there. And then if you want to, you can grow your branches. You can make them look like whatever you want. They can look like cactus arms. They can look different than each other, each arm. Take a few more breaths. And then bring hands back to heart center. Try to release the leg, turn the knee forward, extend the foot. Hold for a moment or two if you can, and then kick. And let it come down. Good job. Okay, shake it out. Especially that standing leg. Other side. Come back to mountain. Grow tall through the spine. Neutral pelvis. Engage the front core to keep that pelvis neutral. And then shift the weight onto the left foot. Right foot peels to the toes. Right knee turns out. And then again, kickstand below the knee, above the knee, making sure you avoid that knee though. And then find your drishti, something that's not moving, something that you can focus your attention on. If you want, you can grow your branches. Imagine leaves going from green to yellow, to orange, to deep red, maybe even brown, and eventually falling off. you're just letting it happen, letting the leaves go, letting the parts of you, the thoughts that you have that you no longer need, drift away, letting it go with ease. Bring hands back to heart center. Turn that knee forward. Try to keep the foot off the ground if you can. Extend the leg. Take a deep breath and then kick. I know, it's so hard. Balance is so good for us to practice, and we don't stand very often in this class. We don't practice it. So we're going to go down. So again, coming back to mountain. So you can alter this any way you want, but this is going to be my suggestion. And I'll give you some modifications if you need them. Inhale, reach up to the sky. Exhale, hinge from the hips, bend into the knees. Come all the way down to your ragdoll pose. I know we don't have props, so depending on your body, you may or may not be able to do this. So I'm going to suggest that you bend your knees enough that you can plant your hands. So maybe your bottom has to come down pretty low, and then baby step your feet back to a down dog. If you don't want to do that, you can bring one knee down and then the other knee down and go to a child's pose, or you can just go from table into down dog. If you go from table, you might have to make your stance a little wider. So table, the hands and the feet are too close together for down dog. Let's just pause here, walk it out, bend into one knee, stretch into the other leg, deeply bend into the other knee, stretch. You can always keep your knees bent. Even with your knees bent, sometimes it feels good to wag the tail. So shift the heels, shift the hips, side to side. And then gently come down. So knees come down and then come to child's pose. Knees can be wide or narrow, whatever you prefer. Take a few breaths in child's pose here, reconnecting with that intention. Sighing out the mouth. If you need a big breath out, slowing the breath. And then come up to table. So if you had knees wide, bring knees back under hips. Wrists right underneath shoulders. You can always come to fists. And then on your next inhale, let your belly come down towards the mat. Tailbone raises up towards the sky, so this chin. And then exhale, move into cat. Rounding the back, chin tucks, tailbone tucks. And then move with your breath through cat and cow. If you know any versions of cat and cow that you like, feel free to do those. My favorite is to pause for a full breath in one of the poses and to wag the tail. So that just allows my hips a little bit of a stretch. And my hips are always tight, my shoulders are tight, my hips are tight. So feel free to move however you need to move. You can do C curves, you can do Komodo dragon, or you can just do cat cow. Make it your own. So while we're moving here from the base of table, I just want to talk about intention setting. So we try to set an intention every time we do a yoga class. So sometimes teachers are really overt and obvious about their intention, and sometimes it's less obvious. But I would really suggest that maybe one of the things that you can do to make yoga walk off the mat with your body is to try intention setting. So it only takes a moment every day in the morning to think of an intention. And for me, it's usually something like patience or breathing even, just trying to, in that day, when I get frustrated or overwhelmed or stressed, to take a breath. That's my intention for the day. Patience, of course, is because I'm the mother of 2 little children. So whatever is relevant for your life, maybe it's seeking to understand, maybe it's non-judgment. So it could be a lot of things, and it can change every day. Maybe it's based on what happened the day before, if you're going to be with the same people. So just trying to set an intention, and then in any moment that you can, come back to that intention. All right, come back to a still table. We're going to do thread the needle. You can do it from child's pose if you prefer that, and you can skip it if you don't like thread the needle. But if you're going to go with me, inhale the right arm up to the sky, and then thread it under the left arm, twist the body, let the shoulder and the side of the head come down to the mat. And then the hand that's in front of your face can push into the mat to increase the twist. It can also go up to the sky, it can go behind the back, or it can reach on the mat above the head, palm down. So wherever you want to put it, once again, making your yoga practice your own. Breathing, working into those shoulders, opening that space across the back of the heart center, making space for our intention to land. Because it's good when our intention is in our head, but it's even better when our intention can make its way all the way to our heart. Breathe into the back body. And then when you're ready, bring that hand back in front of your face. Wide fingers press into the mat, coming up. And then take whatever movement you want. Maybe it's a child's pose, maybe it's a Komodo dragon, where you kind of wiggle the hips and let the rest of your body follow that motion. So you're kind of like snaking up and down your body. Maybe it's a C curve where you bring your hip and shoulder towards each other on one side and the other. Maybe it's a cat-cow. Or maybe it's just uncoordinated movement. And then lift the other arm up to the sky when you're ready. Open the chest. And then thread that arm underneath the arm that's still on the mat, coming down. Try to match the other side with your free arm. Wherever you put it on the first side, put it on the second side. And then breathe. Breathe into the pose. Let that space between the shoulders open up. Come back to your intention for this class. And then when you're ready, bring that free arm back in front of your face, wide fingers press into it, come back up to table, and then sit your hips towards one side and swing your legs out in front of you. We're gonna cross the knees or cross the legs for a moment. So if that is not comfortable, you can always have one leg out. You can sit on some hike, a towel, or a pillow. Let's all inhale, sweep the arms up, and then twist to the right. So right hand comes behind you, left hand comes to the opposite knee. Head follows to the right. Breathe deeply. Every inhale you do, try to sit taller. And then exhale, either hold where you are, or if you feel space open, you can twist into that space. On your next exhale, bring just your head forward. Inhale there. And then exhale, untwist. And you can kind of wiggle it out again, maybe some uncoordinated movement, shaking out wrists. We were on our wrists for a little while. It's always good to take care of those joints. And then find your sits bones again, sit tall. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, twist to the left. Left hand goes behind you for support. Right hand comes to the opposite knee. Head follows. When you start to inhale, lengthen through the spine, creating space. And then every exhale, just enjoying where you are, or if there's more space, twist into it. But never pushing yourself to a place where you don't need to go. There's always tomorrow. On your next exhale, bring the head forward. Take a deep inhale there. And then exhale, twist. We're gonna roll down onto our back. And so hands can lay behind the thighs. You can roll down slowly. You can let go of your hands if you want a little more core work. Make sure there's nothing in your way. Coming down to our back. Starting to really slow down. So this is like the beginning of final relaxation, even though we have like 20 minutes left. I really want you guys to try to start really slowing the heart rate, really slowing the breath, trying to let go of any stress, like for me, I have like bad anticipatory anxiety. So letting go of that, yoga is here to help us. Let the knees rock side to side once you get comfortable on your back. Your feet can be hip width, they can be mat width, they could even be right next to each other. You get a different sensation depending on how wide the feet are. So you can try a few different ways, or you can just pick one and go with it. If you like what you feel in your knees, go to one side. Go ahead and just rest there for a breath or two. Slowing the breath, trying to take the inhale to a count of at least 4, and the exhale to a count of at least 5. And then with the breath, as it slows, the heart will slow, and the hope is that the mind will slow. And if you find that your mind is still racing, then it's time to really actively focus the mind on something like the breath that's going slow. Or maybe you have a picture in your room that you like and you can focus on, or maybe a ceiling fan. It doesn't really matter what you focus on as long as you slow that racing. And then when you're ready, bring your knees back to center and into the chest. And then you can rock if you want to, side to side. I like to take my knees kind of wide so that my elbows can catch me as I rock side to side. And I like to have my knees further away from my chest than they can go, so that when I rock, I get into my low back. Because I have tight stress spots in my low back. So if you're the same, knees a little bit like at arm's length away from the body. If your body is one that the knees can come in more than that. Slow breaths in and slow breaths out. And then come back to center. Slow the rocking so that you pause here. Take right hand out to a T. Left hand guides the knees over to the left for a supine twist. Wringing out the spine. Allowing the intestines to kind of squeeze together. That's why twists help digestion. Taking those deep breaths slowly in and slowly out. Noticing where the breath goes in the body. Where do you have space when you're in a twist like this? If you notice your mind wandering, my mind always likes to make lists. Try to bring it back to the breath, to something in the room. Maybe close your eyes and listen to the sound of your breath within your body. Maybe keep your eyes open and gaze at something in your environment that is calming. 2 more slow breaths here. And then on your next inhale, engage your abs, bring your knees slowly back to center. Plant your feet so that your heels are in line with your sits bones. Bring your hands next to your hips, palms down. Press gently into your hands. Tuck the tail so the small of your back presses on the mat. Take an inhale and lift your hips off the mat. Slowly and gently to whatever height feels comfortable for you. Again, pressing gently in your hands, engaging the triceps, trying to let the glutes not do the work. So loosen your bum, press into your feet, engage your legs. Take 2 more breaths here in bridge. And then on your next exhale, slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, come back down until your low back and hips meet the mat. And then let that low back peel away from the mat. Pull the knees into the chest. Rock any which way you want. You could go forward and back to get a nice massage along the spine. You can go side to side with the knees pulled in a little bit more. And then eventually come back to center. Left hand out at a T, right hand gently guides the knees over to the right. Supine spinal twist. On this side, long, deep breaths. Bringing your mind to the intention that you chose at the beginning of class. Maybe for a moment, letting your mind wander to how you would implement making an intention every day. Maybe right after you wake up in the morning, you text yourself your intention. And you could have a record of what your intention is every day. Maybe you have a journal. Maybe you could write it in your journal every morning. Maybe you have a planner. Maybe it could go there. Whatever works for you, but it takes probably a minute, maybe less. How could you incorporate that part of our yoga practice into your everyday life? When you're ready, take a deep inhale, lift the knees back to center, rock a little bit side to side, and then plant the heels in line with sits bones. Hands again, come down next to the hips, press gently into the mat. Flatten your low back onto the mat, feel your abs engage, inhale, and lift the hips into a bridge. So choices here, you could do a flowing bridge. So exhale brings you down, inhale brings you up. Or if you have space to do so, you could clasp hands underneath the bum and tuck the shoulders under. And that gives you a little bit more height and a little bit more openness across the front of the heart, front of the chest. Make sure that you're engaging your inner thighs. So just don't actually move your knees towards each other, but just intend to do that. And it will engage your inner thighs. So we don't want our knees to flop out towards the sides. We want them to stay in line with our feet. And we want our inner thighs to be engaged. 2 more breaths, whether you're flowing or holding. And if you're holding and you have hands underneath you or shoulders tucked, go ahead and undo those and gently and slowly come down. Rock the knees side to side. You can widen feet if you want. You can take a deep breath in through the nose and then sigh out the mouth. And then walk the feet back so that the heels are in line again with the sits bones. Cross the right ankle onto the left thigh. Let's stretch our hips a little bit, coming into figure 4. So maybe left foot stays on the ground. Maybe it floats into the air. Hands can take sides of thighs or wrap all the way around and clasp. Right foot stays flexed to protect the right knee. And then you can rock side to side. Just be gentle as you go to the left. It can get intense in the hip. The left foot can float up to the sky, or it can dangle. Whatever your figure 4 looks like today is where you need to be. Enjoying the calm, enjoying the peace of this moment and our next few moments together. Trying to make a memory so that if tomorrow is a little more fast-paced or other parts of the week to come are a little bit more stressful, we can tap into this moment because we carry this with us. When you're ready, take an exhale and let your left leg float back down to the mat if it was in the air. Maybe just pause for a moment with that right leg crossed. And then bring the knee towards the chest. Take a hold of maybe the sides of the thighs and try to extend that right leg up to the sky. Maybe roll out that right ankle. So if your knee doesn't straighten all the way, that's okay. Roll the ankle the other direction. Flexibility in our joints, like ankles and wrists. Mobility in our knees and elbows, shoulders and hips. It's so important. And then if you want to, you can crawl the hands up the leg and start to lift the head and the shoulders a little forward. And then crawl the hands back down. So you can repeat that. I would exhale on the up as you peel up and inhale on the down. So go ahead and do that 3 more times on your own, or you can skip it. You can say, not today. Listening to your body. If you want to skip it, you can do whatever you want with that right leg. But I request that you still breathe deeply. And then when you're done with whatever you chose, take that right knee into the chest, elongate the left leg down the mat. Take the knee out to the side, so it's kind of like pulling in towards the armpit. It probably won't hit the ground because you're going to keep your left hip on the ground. Bring the right knee back in towards the chest. Take a breath. Open it back out towards the side. Take a breath. Bring it back in towards the chest. And then set that foot down onto the mat. Bend the other foot. Line up your heels to the sits bones. Cross the left ankle onto the right, whatever that's called. Thigh. All the deep breathing, like I have no words left. And then if your right foot has space to float up into the sky. And then choose what your figure 4 looks like on this side. Maybe mirroring the last side. Maybe not. But whatever you do, keep breathing deeply. Keep trying to calm the mind. Using those big inhales and long exhales. One more breath. And then on the exhale, if the right foot was up, let it float back down. Just pause. And then turn that knee towards the chest. Hug it in, extend the right leg down the mat. Take a breath here. And then open the knee out towards the side, but keep the right hip on the mat. You can even put your right hand on your hip bone to remind it to stay grounded. Bring it back towards the chest. Take an inhale and an exhale. And then open it. Take an inhale and an exhale. And then bring the knee back. Extend it up towards the sky. 5 breaths, your choice what you do. Maybe crawl the hands up as you peel your head and shoulders off the ground. And then down. Exhale to come up. Inhale to come down. 3 more breaths, whatever you're choosing. I hope you're listening to your body for what it needs. If it says no core work today, then listen. Maybe roll out that ankle, because I forgot to do that before we did the core work. And then start to move to your Shavasana. So if you want props, if you have a blanket that you want to put over yourself, whatever you need to relax for our last few minutes. Feet probably mat width. Relax the hips so the ankles and the feet roll out to the outer sides. Arms a little ways away from the body so the flesh doesn't touch much. And then just relax. If the mind wanders, use the breath to refocus. Let the breath come and go as it pleases, so you might not have as deep of breaths as we've been doing, and that's okay. And just practice letting go. Begin to deepen your breath, wiggling fingers and toes, slowly waking up the body. And eventually rolling over onto one side, or however else you want to come back into a seated position. Bringing hands to heart center when you get there, bowing the head. Just taking a moment to re-engage with your intention. And then thank yourself for showing up today, giving yourself the gift of an hour of yoga. And thank you for allowing me to lead you through this time. The light within me sees and honors the light within each of you. Namaste. Namaste.